Well, hey, you guys, welcome. Get in here. Happy Friday. It's Recap the Week with CM. That's me, Conservative Mama. I just abbreviated it. I just to make it a little shorter. It's a big title, a lot of words. So I tried to shorten it a little bit. Oh my gosh, how's everybody doing? Hey, Vicky on YouTube, Matt in Dallas on Facebook. Oh no, Vicky's on Facebook. Sandy's on YouTube. Get in here, you guys. Let's talk. Let's break down this week. We just got dumped on in Colorado. Lots of snow here. Snow day. So if you're a parent, and you live in colder temperature climates, snow days just throw everything off. It's fun. It's awesome, but it's complete chaos. They want the snow outfits on. They put on the boots, the gloves, the hats, and then they go out in the snow and they come in and it's just snow in the house. Like then you get like this film on top of your floors. You clean them. I was out shoveling this morning at, very early. Yes, I was just out there. And so I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. And this is the thing, like, I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to go shovel. And so I go shovel and I'm shoveling. And in the middle of the shoveling, I was like, I think I'm using my back more than my legs. And I do that sometimes because I get excited and I just, so I could be a little sore tomorrow. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So I'm a little behind on everything right now, but I'm catching up. It's melting fast. Yes, it is, JD. And it's supposed to get the sun's supposed to come out. This is the thing in Colorado, because it's not like a Minnesota or Michigan. And I love both, but Colorado's great. And I shouldn't tell people this. Well, it's a blue state, so that's why don't come to Colorado because it's blue. We're trying to turn it red. But the sun will come out. Like you'll have like a 50-degree day. You could have a total snowstorm, blizzard, crazy. Everything's just nuts. Snow piled feet high. And then the sun comes out and it melts it. And it's like people are in tank tops, like shoveling snow. Like it's a desert climate and it's just different. I love it. I love Colorado. I want to help this state turn around. We just got to get better people. We got to get better people leading our party. If you get me talking about the GOP here in Colorado, I don't think they like to win. I don't think they want to win. I don't think they try to win. It's so much infighting that I'm like, I'm out. Once you guys can start getting along, then I'll get involved. But as long as you're going to bicker and fight amongst each other and not go after the communists, then I'll just focus on the federal level, because that's what it is in Colorado. And it's nauseating. It's absolutely nauseating. It's horrible. We have to deal with it. Oh, hold on. Let me really quick. I didn't do this last time. I need to retweet this. If you're on, not retweet, repost, because we're on X now, but I don't forget to do this. And then people don't know. People are like, I didn't even know you were on. Although I've been going live on Fridays for like forever now. Okay. There's a lot to discuss. Let's break it down. Well, I'm just going to rattle through a few things and then we'll go deeper on some other topics. Delta Airlines, a jet flipped upside down and caught fire after landing at a Toronto Pearson International Airport. 80 passengers escaped through, though 18 were injured. Investigators retrieved the flight data, recording the probe to find out the cause, marking a dramatic aviation accident. So it's more airline stuff, and this is what happens. I mean, we'll see how this all unfolds. How DEI has played a role in our airlines. I believe it has. I believe this kind of like a offshoot of these guys are all about women pilots, and I'm not against women pilots. I love women, but I don't want someone promoted on their gender if they're not the best person for the job. Like, that's just where I stand on it. Like, if you're the best pilot out there and you're a woman, then like go for it. But I don't want it to be like, we need a woman to fill this role. So yes, you're great when we have other people that are way more qualified. That's just where I stand on stuff. So I think the best person, the most qualified, should be flying our planes. So I don't know. I'm not quick to get on a plane right now. I'm just not. I'm like, we'll drive. We're good. We'll just roll with the fine. It's a 20-hour. That's fine. It's fine. We'll drive. We'll meet you there. We'll just take off, a couple days before you guys do. Not a fan. Not a fan of the airlines. I'm just not. Like, there's just too much happening, right? And it started to kind of happen at the end of Biden's presidency. Like, we have plane parts falling out of the sky. Do you guys remember that? They're like, yeah, a door fell off the plane. It's like random things falling out. Like, what? I'm sorry. So I'm a little hesitant right now. I'll drive. So swear I'm at. Okay, so that happened. Also, last night I did watch the USA, Canada, and gosh, the Canadians came for me. You guys, like, we're supposed to be friends. I have a lot of Canadians that follow me. So what happened? They came for me last night on Twitter because Trudeau made some stupid statement. Like, what did he say? Let's just find out what he said. He said something. We beat Canada on Saturday. They're like, that doesn't count. The championships what really matters. I'm like, yeah, but like, if we play a game and you beat us and then we beat you, like, we're kind of evenly matched. Like, just, what did he say? And it was just like, hold on. And Trudeau was waiting all day to say it. Like, he was just like, cannot wait to tweet this out after we beat them. I cannot wait to do. He goes, you can't take our country and you can't take our game. I was like, whoa, good one, Trudeau, good one. And I said, we won against you guys on Saturday. And then I got like almost ratioed, but by the Canadians. And we're supposed to love each other, Canada. Like, we're supposed to be cool with each other. Sorry, I keep getting that text messages here. And I don't know how to mute it. So if you guys know how to do that, let me know, because that's annoying. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't want Canada to become another state of the US. That's just my own personal opinion. Like, I'm good. You guys are good. We're good. But that obviously really has struck a nerve there with the Canadians, and you got Trudeau coming out after us, who's going to be gone soon. They're going to hold elections. Seriously, please, Canada, like, make Canada great again and vote for a conservative. Just do it. Unless you guys want to live under the communist regime rule. I mean, if maybe that's what you guys want. If that's what you want, then yeah, go for the commies. But if you're like, I kind of want my freedom, then, maybe think about it before you check that box on the ballot. All right. Yeah, he a socialist moron. I know, it's terrible. Anyways, okay, so that happened. So I did watch that, and I was bummed for the USA, but I kind of expected it. I believe that the US was super pumped on Saturday when you got the Canadians booing our national anthem. I mean, that's like just total fuel to go out there and crush it, and that's what they did. And so Canada came back and beat us last night in over. I don't even know the lingo for a lot of the hockey. It's like overtime, and they can only have 5 players on the ice at a time. And they beat us, and it is what it is. Okay. We still have a lot of other things. Okay. Like, I think more people watched hockey last night in America than they ever have. You just felt like obligated to tune in. So you can have your hockey, Canadians. All right. Anyways, what else? Oh, this is interesting. And we need to be aware of this. Not necessarily everyone, but my state, Colorado. So Denver Health and Children's Hospital resumed. And I have to double check on Children's Hospital because when the news reports it, they're like all fishy with it. But I know that Denver Health has recently resumed mutilating children transitioning them after a judge put a pause on when Trump said enough of this stuff. We're not doing this anymore. They have now resumed. They've started back up mutilating children. That's right, children. When your brain isn't, I don't even know how a lefty can support this. I mean, unless you're like a radical lefty and you're like nuts, like you're mentally, you need help. But if you're just like a middle of the road, your average Democrat, if there's any left, there probably aren't. But I don't know how you could be like, yes, when a child's brain is not even fully developed, like they're not even like they can't, they can't, it's not all there. It's not, I mean, I have children. And I'll be like, really? You're just going to do that like that? You thought that was a good idea? You thought it was a good idea to just like get in the car and put it in neutral and just see what happens? Like that was a good idea. I mean, there's always stuff that my kids are doing that I'm like, no, you didn't think this through, did you? You didn't think it through. Like, for example, my son got a detention yesterday because they thought it was funny to like, smash a plastic bag as loud as you could in the cafeteria. And that makes a very horrific sound if you've had any kind of gun trauma. And, I was like, why did you think that was a good idea? Like, what made you think that they weren't thinking? Because they're children. Children don't think full, like they don't process. They don't think like 3 or 4 or 5 steps ahead. And that doesn't happen until your brain is fully developed. And even now we have full-blown adults that are complete idiots. So I don't know how you could be like, yes, let's keep chopping these children up. They can't really make a they can't get a tattoo or drive, some of them can't drive cars or vote or order a glass of wine. But yeah, they want to change who they are. You can't change who you are. Like that's the honest truth. You can't. Okay. You're fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image. He created you. He knows you. He knew you before you were born. He formed you in your mother's womb, and he chose your gender. So these people that are profiting off of it, that's what I see it as. I feel terrible for the children. Absolutely horrific, because these greedy big pharma and doctors that are like, yes, we're going to chop the child up and we're going to make a ton of money off of it. That's what they're doing, and it's sick and it's evil. And I guess Denver Health here in Colorado is like, let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. And it was interesting because I tweeted it out, and then the Denver Post deleted the tweet because they don't want anyone knowing that this is happening. It's like, just keep it quiet. Because I tried to tag Libs of TikTok because they're always covering their stuff, and just to kind of alert them. They're like, so they deleted it. So now it's just like they're hush doing it. They're hush mutilating children. Anyways, unbelievable. It's sick and it's wrong. And I mean, I guarantee you we're going to look back on this period in history and we're going to be like, they were doing what to kids? Like, I'm sorry, what? They were what? Yeah, they were just chopping off their breasts, mutilating their downstairs areas. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's so sick and wrong. It's not great. But like they're going to look back and be like, are you kidding me that that's what you were doing? And anyone that's like cheering this on, you're on the wrong side of history. Anyways, what else? Oh, I read this morning really quick. P. Diddy's lawyer has quit. New charges have been filed against P. Diddy. Violating a woman. I don't know if I can say the word because they're so careful on some of the stuff. Emerged, and the lawyer said he can't defend Diddy. The charges are too much. So, and these lawyers, though, they want to make a pretty dime here. They're like, any way to make money, these lawyers will do it. They'll defend the worst of the worst. So the fact that this lawyer is like, I can't do this, makes me think, what did Diddy do? Like what? And hopefully we find out. Hopefully we find out some Mary on YouTube. That made me laugh. Okay. So we'll find out. Hopefully we find out. But wow, the fact that your lawyer's like, I can't, I'm out. Like I can't. says a lot about what these charges are and what Diddy allegedly, you got to be careful, has done. Okay, let's get into a little bit more stuff. Ukraine, Zelensky, that stuff really developed over the last few days. European leaders held an emergency summit to address the ongoing war in Ukraine. It's sparked by concerns over the U.S. President Trump pushing to negotiate with Russia. So Trump is trying to negotiate with Russia. Zelensky didn't even come to the table on this. What's happened is the Russians, Putin, all of them are saying, hey, there's some things that we want done in order to resolve this, in order to end this thing. They want Ukraine to have elections. Now, elections were paused once this Ukraine war started. And which is interesting to me, because if you are a democracy, don't you support elections? This is what democracy looks like, right? I mean, this is what we hear the left chanting all the time. And now you're saying that no elections, just Zelensky's the guy and he's going to run the country and everybody else just shut your mouth. So Russia and the US are like, hey, no, we think that you guys should hold elections. Well, the argument from the left and Zelensky are like, no, they'll corrupt the system. They'll cheat. Like, we don't know anything about this. They'll somehow, put their guy in, and they don't want Zelensky anymore. And so there's this whole debate taking place, and Zelensky is being really defiant. So I don't think this is a good idea on Zelensky's part. I think that he's going to end up agreeing to these terms in some way. Or it could go another way. It could go another way where, the U.S. just completely pulls out of this thing, no more money. And then Zelensky goes over to Europe and he talks to the European Union. He's like, I still need money. And the European Union can continue to give money or fund it, but you're not going to see a win. You're not going to see a win. You're just going to see more death. And at some point you have to be like, okay, how many more people have to die? Do we have to just completely lose every single Ukrainian? At some point there needs to be okay, we're done. We're done with the bloodshed. Let's stop this. Let's negotiate. And you might not like it. You might not like everything, but to save lives, right? To save lives, you might not like everything you have to agree to, but in order to stop the killing and the complete eradication of Ukrainians, and on the Russian side, a lot of Russians have died as well. But in order to stop this thing, you would think that, okay, we're going to meet in the middle. We're going to agree to some terms and we're going to get this thing done. And so that's what Trump is trying to do. But Zelensky is being pretty defiant. And Trump is coming hard at him. He said some stuff on Truth Social that are pretty aggressive. And I won't read the whole thing because it's a pretty long post, but he said, think of it. A modestly successful comedian, Volodymyr Zelensky, talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. And he goes on and just saying enough. We need to come to the table and we need to stop this. And I agree. Also, there's this whole narrative going on right now and story going on where they don't know where a lot of the money went. So we've got billions and billions of dollars that we've sent to Ukraine, our country, and they don't have an account of how it was spent or where a lot of it went. And I know that there are some, I think it was Hawley, Senator Hawley, I might be wrong, but I know that he's like, I want a full audit. I want to know where every single dime was spent. And they don't want to let you know. And the more you dive into it, the more you're like, wait a minute, we've got tons of Ukrainians dead. They're saying possibly millions, which is just what? Dead. And we haven't gotten anywhere in this whole thing. And we've spent billions of dollars and we don't know where the money went. So we'll see. We'll see how this develops. I personally, if I had to put money on it, I'd bet that it gets resolved and Zelensky comes to the table and negotiates. That's my, I could be wrong, but we'll see. Musk Trump interview. This was interesting. They had a Musk Trump interview on Hannity. Hannity had an interview with them, and the interview began with Hannity addressing a recent $10 million settlement that X paid Trump over a lawsuit of him being removed, which was interesting to me. Like, there's part of you that's like, you guys wouldn't like just say, let's just forget it. Let's just forget it. But Trump followed through on the lawsuit, and X had to pay him $10 million because he was removed from the platform, and that was the settlement. And so I thought that was interesting. So they started out with that, and they really kind of went deep on a focus on Doge, which is Musk just trying to figure out where our money is being spent, how it's being abused, how it's being wasted. Absolute waste is taking place. And I to be honest with you, I'm shocked that not everyone is on board. And what I've learned this week is people that I thought would start to see it are not seeing it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's surprising to me, because it doesn't matter where you are on the political spectrum. If you find out that somebody took your money and they were supposed to be spending it on something that they told you they were spending it on, and then they're just blowing it, you would think that every single American would be like, well, wait a minute. What? You're spending it on what? When we have veterans on our streets, we have people struggling to pay bills, and you're blowing our money on the most absurd things. Like, I can't even, and I've done videos on this. I've talked about the waste. I've talked about where it's being spent. And you would think every American would be like, wow, thank you so much for finding this waste, for cutting a lot of this junk that we've been wasting our money on. Thank you for doing that. You think you'd get a thank you. Honestly, there are no thank yous. And you think people would be excited that money is being returned back to them. That's what they want to do. They want to return it back to you. And the left just is so upset. It's like, no, keep wasting our money. Keep just lighting it on fire. And they're trying to find out where the money's being wasted, and they're trying to help Americans. Like, it's bizarre to me. And I saw this clip of Stephen Miller on CNN, and you guys got to watch this because I love how he handles this. So watch. Here we go.
American people are exhausted and tired of watching their tax dollars be corruptly spent, abused, wasted, and in every sense robbed and stolen from them. This president, for the first time in history, is committed to restoring accountability at every level of the federal government. You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
you may
asserting,
assert there's no waste in HHS.
That, Stephen, I don't think anyone...
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire
Stephen, let's calm
salaries
down.
of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
She's like, Stephen, let's calm down. I can't argue back with you. They never can. It's all emotion. It's all emotion every time. Like, Stephen, I need you to take a deep breath, Stephen. No, but that's a great question. Why aren't you celebrating? Like, we're talking billions. They might find trillions of waste that our government has just been blowing on the most. We're talking transgender comic books for Peru. We're talking sex changes in Colombia. I mean, it's so, we're talking thousands and thousands of people that have been dead. They're dead. They've been dead for years. We're talking 20, 30 years. 150-year-old people getting Social Security checks. Like, no, we want you to keep paying them. Keep it up. Do it. We want you to keep it. Like, celebrate that. If you don't celebrate that, you look irrational. You look like you do have TDS, honestly. Like, if you can't at least say, Okay, I can't stand Trump. I want the Russia and Ukraine war to continue. I want a eruption and just total chaos in the Middle East. I want inflation to continue, but I will give him this. I am thankful that they're finding the waste and the abuse and the fraud that's taking place. Then you look a little bit more balanced. But if you can't even let yourself find one thing. Like if you can't find one thing, don't you think maybe you might be deranged just a little bit? Just a little bit. You can't find one thing. And that's what's so great about Elon Musk here, because he totally calls it out.
They call it like Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. And I didn't, you don't realize how real this is until you can't reason with people. So I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and everything was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies. Okay, and they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong, guys? Like, you can't have like a normal conversation. Yeah. And it's like they become completely irrational.
He has no idea, but if you're friends with him, yeah, you pay a price. You know, it's I walk in a restaurant in New York and it's like half the room gets daggers and they want to.
No, the eye daggers level is insane. Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, I have witnessed this in my own life. I've witnessed this with family and with friends. They can't talk policy. They can't talk just on a factual level at all. It always becomes irrational, and it turns into like you're a racist or you're a Nazi or it immediately goes from like 1 to 10. And it's like, just why can't you just talk policy? What is so wrong about identifying waste and getting rid of it? Well, honestly, just what is so wrong with that? Why is that bad? Why is that bad? Not what the media has told you. Well, they're going to lose this, or this is going to happen, or people are going to die. Don't. Who's died? Just take a deep breath and tell me what is so wrong with finding out that we've been giving checks to people that are 150 years old that are no longer here. Social Security checks. Like what? Why does that bother you? Why? Could you maybe just say, well, okay, that's a good thing. I'm glad we found out. I'm glad we found that. Can you do that? Are you able to do that? If you're able to do that, then yes, I'll have a conversation with you. Yes, we can talk. But if you can't even acknowledge some good, then you do suffer from TDS. Like, it's a real thing. It is a real thing. I know people that have it. It's a real thing. There's something when you say Trump or Trump comes up in a conversation, everyone's like, oh, like, just don't. Like, it's bizarre. It's strange. I've never seen anything like it. I don't get it. Just talk policy with me. What's so wrong with securing our border? What's so wrong with getting out the people that have violated women and murdered innocent people? What is so wrong with that? Just tell me, why is that so bad? Why? What's so wrong with stopping fentanyl from coming across our border and killing Americans? Like, why does that enrage you? What is so wrong with literally I think we have we've dropped down to anyone crossing our border right now. Like, it's totally secured. Like, why does that bother you? Why? I want to know why that makes you so mad. Because you're emotionally led and you just think we should have open borders and everybody could live here, and then everything can just be universally just wiped out and destroyed. I mean, how much do you want the taxpayer to be funding other people's lives and not their own, and benefiting with their own families and thriving? Like, how much do you want the taxpayer to be squeezed so that they're completely depleted of having any kind of success themselves. And then because it's being taken and given until there's nothing left. Like that eventually happens. Like what is it? I don't get it. I don't understand it. What is so wrong with ending the war in Ukraine? Do you want more people to die? No, I'm not a fan of Putin. Oh, you love Putin. That's what you do. I knew it. I knew you love Putin so much. You just marry him. Why don't you marry Putin that you love? Like, stop. I just don't want any more people to die. Like, don't you feel that way? So yeah, you're going to have to agree to some stuff you don't want to do because you don't want more people to die. I want more people to die. I do. Like, why? What is wrong with you? It's so weird. Like, it's so bizarre. I've been dealing with this for years. He's the worst. He's just the worst. He's so bad. What? Why? He won't let a full-grown man compete against women in sports. Like that really gets you going, huh? You want that to continue? Does that excite you? I mean, what is it? It's strange. Like, take a deep breath. TDS is real. It's so real. I got people on trolls. They just calm down. Here we go. It's another 4 years of just like, yeah. Okay. Quick shout out as we continue. Patriot Protect. These guys are awesome. I gotta get let's put their little slide up here. Patriot to Protect. Basically, what they do for you is they protect your privacy, right? With AI technology and everybody knowing everything about everybody's business, and everybody's up in your business. You're like, you know what? I don't want everyone to know where I live. I don't want everyone to have my phone number. I want myself removed from the internet. These guys come in and they literally erase you. They erase you. They clean it up. They get you off of there so you can have privacy. And you can go to their site, patriot-protect.com/conservative mama. You can enter in the code word MOMMA, MOMMA, and you get 15% off. So check them out. They're conservatives, small business owners, and they want to protect Americans against like all of this junk that's coming at you. And you got all these scammers, you got people calling you. You're like, I don't know who you are. It just gets weird. So go to them, check them out, enter in MOMMA for 15% off. All right, you guys. So what else? Oh, this is a terrible one. I don't even want to cover it. Like, I don't. But it is a huge story that happened this week. 4 bodies of the hostages that were taken by Hamas have been returned this week. It was said, and I've got a gentleman, 83-year-old Oded Lifshitz, was returned. His body was returned, and then we've got the mother, Cherie Bibas, and her 2 children, Ariel and Kafir. He was 4. Ariel was 4, and Kafir was 9 months when they were taken hostages. It is now being reported that the mother's body is not her body. So I guess that Hamas still has this woman's body. So we don't know exactly what body was returned, but it's being said that it's not hers. So they do have the children's bodies, but not the mother. And I don't want to start. I'm not going to, it's just so hard. But I don't know how, what really got me is the cheering that I saw the Palestinians doing. I was like, what is happening to our world? These Palestinians, and I'll show them, they're bringing out these bodies, and they're cheering. They're cheering the bodies. And you've got children cheering the bodies. And I don't know any other civilization or people that will cheer when you see children's bodies in coffins. I don't. So here's this. I don't want to watch any more of it. But I don't know how you have a two-state solution when you have this. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? Like, honestly. And I know there's tons of people now that are all pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, free Palestine, river to the sea. This is what that looks like. And I don't know how you have a two-state solution. I don't know how you say, okay, this is one people group here believe that if you don't convert and they kill you, like you're an infidel, and you either convert or you are killed. Like, that is a strong belief. And I know, it's a peaceful. It's not peaceful. It's not peaceful. Cheering for children's bodies as they leave your country, your region that you're living in, is not peaceful. It's not. So I don't want to lie. It's not peaceful. So stop it with it's not peaceful. And I don't know how you have some kind of agreement where you have people that are cheering for dead children's bodies living next to the other group of people that you want to kill. I mean, I don't know how you do it. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't have all the answers. I don't. But I know that this will just continue. It will continue. And I base that off of my biblical faith. I base that off of watching this whole thing develop since Genesis, since, Isaac and Ishmael, Jacob and Esau. I mean, it's a division that took place hundreds of thousands of years ago. And it's not going to get resolved. It's not going to get resolved. There might be temporary, and there will be a temporary resolution according to the Bible, according to scriptures. There will be a temporary moment where everyone is getting along. And I've watched a lot happen in the conservative movement, and huge big players in the conservative movement advocate for the Palestinian side and for Hamas and Hezbollah and coming to their defense. And I watched this, and I don't know after watching a video where you see children, because this isn't Hamas cheering. These are regular Palestinian people cheering for babies' bodies being delivered. I don't know how you get around that. And I've seen them try. I've seen no comment from a lot of them. No comment. They want to talk about something else going on. Like, well, I don't want to talk about it. I want you to talk about this. Talk about normal Palestinian people cheering for babies' bodies. Talk about it. You've been cheering them on. what's so messed up is Hamas hides behind their own people's their own people. They hide behind children. And then you have the children die, and then it's the headlines of all the children Palestinians dying. Well, maybe if Hamas didn't hide behind kids, you wouldn't have dead kids. It's just going to continue. And as I was kind of thinking about this, because I've seen a lot of Christians, you know, Israel's not Israel. That Israel's gone. You know, they're all into replacement theology. They're all about, it's just a piece of land. What they don't know is you are literally fulfilling prophecy by saying that. Because eventually the entire world turns on Israel, turns on Jerusalem. And we're heading in that direction. And I find it so amazing that when Jesus was asked about end times, right? They're like, tell us what it's like. Tell us what it looks like. Tell us what it looks like. And he says, well, I wrote it down. He says, while Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately and they said, tell us, they said, when will these things happen? Like, when will these end times things happen? When is this going to happen? And what will be the sign of your coming at the end of the age? And Jesus answered, see to it that no one deceives you. And what we're seeing happen right now is incredible deception. Because a lot of these people preaching this, they haven't read their Bibles. They don't know scripture. They're not in it. You got to get in it. You got to study it. You got to know it so that you cannot or will not be deceived. Not what your husband said, not what your best friend said, not what your pastor or your priest is telling you. Get in the scripture yourself. And don't be deceived. And you know how people get deceived? You know what happens? You know, the initial way most people get deceived is you let hate in. At some point, somebody bothers you. At some point, somebody says something to you. At some point, somebody crucifies your Messiah. You let a little hate in there, a little resentment. You let that grow, and it grows, and it grows. And once you let that hate take seed and it begins to go out throughout every fiber of your being, then somebody can come along and they can tell you anything they want to tell you, and you'll believe it if it feeds your hate. Feeds your hate, you're misled. You can be deceived so easily, you don't know what's going on. You're strapping a suicide bomb on yourself at some point because you just let yourself go there with hate. Let no one deceive you. You got to keep your heart right. You got to keep your heart soft. You got to keep it kind. You got to exercise the fruits of the Spirit. And it's not easy, okay? And you got to forgive people that have harmed you. And I have a list of people that have offended me in some way. You did this to me. You told me I couldn't come to Thanksgiving dinner because I didn't have a COVID shot. Forgive them. Forgive them. Forgive them. God bless them and pray for them. Pray for them. Walk in forgiveness and you will not be deceived. Walk in forgiveness, study scripture, know what the Bible says, especially eschatology. And maybe we'll just start to dive more into eschatology because that's something that so excites me. I was literally just yesterday, just researching and finding all these different arguments on replacement theology and people arguing replacement theology and then arguing back and diving deep into what God's word says in the text and what theologians have said and understanding it and then seeing the bigger picture of how it all unfolds. And it's amazing. It's amazing. We're in it. We're in it right now. But I'll tell you, be careful who you're listening to and be careful what their motivation is. And maybe they don't even know it. You know, I think some people, to be honest with you, I think some people are being used and they don't even know they're being used. Like they don't even know that they're building an army of people that hate, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it. They don't even know that they're being used. But be sensitive, stay sensitive, and know scripture. And I don't, and you got to be careful because people will try to deceive you. They'll be like, well, that's really, this is what happened. And this is what, and it really meant this. And then this is where Israel ended and the church began. And then it's a spiritual thing, but it's spiritual, but it's not spiritual, but it's kind of, but it can be, but it's not. You're like, what is going on? There's no author. God is not the author of confusion. When you start to really dive into it, it all becomes very clear. You're like, oh. And then what's fascinating to me is I'm like, wow, you can't see it. You're totally being deceived. You're being misled. Study scripture, know scripture. And it's fascinating to me that before Jesus dives into saying, hey, before I talk to you about how this all unfolds, before we go there, before we discuss it, I want to warn you, do not be deceived. Because think about this. How do you get the whole world to rise up and go against Jerusalem? Like, that's what the Bible says happens, right? Like Zechariah 14, like, literally lays it out. How does that happen? How do you get people to that point? How does that happen? Well, obviously, something happens where people are so triggered, they're so angry, they're so outraged that they're like, yeah, we need to attack. We need to do it. And you get everybody on board. Deception. Deceived because you don't know scripture, because you don't know what the Bible says, because you don't know. Well, you're reading a Scofield Bible. I never read one. I don't know never read one, never seen one. I don't know anything about Scofield or Darby or any of those guys. I just know what the Bible says. From Genesis to Revelation, I know it. And you see it all outlined. I don't know. I could literally talk about that stuff forever. And I have a few friends that do too. And it's just like when we get together, it's like, and then, it's like just amazing. All right. This was a big one. And this totally went under radar this week. Nobody discussed it. It barely I don't think any major news outlet took this one. But Dr. Birx states, she goes on with Piers Morgan, and she says this. You just watch.
Very clear to every mom out there that his children were immunized about childhood vaccines. Yeah. And what we've done wrong in public health is we didn't explain that COVID vaccines were nothing like the childhood vaccines, and that the childhood vaccines, like many of the diseases, you get it once, you don't get it again. And this is getting the children to have that disease without getting the deadly consequences. That is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed to prevent against infection. And if you look at the vaccine hesitancy rates, they've doubled since COVID. So we have to start addressing these things. We can't just ignore them.
And Deborah, let me ask you, Deborah, I mean, given that you were the face of COVID from the Trump presidency at the time, do you share, this doctor who I was with, do you share the concerns about the longer term negative impact of some of the COVID vaccines?
The messenger RNA vaccine should have been rolled out for the people that were at risk for severe disease, because that's what the vaccine was developed for. But when we say that we're following the science and the data, we need to follow the science and the data. And the science and the data said people primarily over 65 or people with significant comorbidities were at risk for severe disease. Those are the individuals that should have been immunized first. And we should have put our science behind our immunization schedule and protected those most at risk. It went into young people in hospitals before it went into our elderly in nursing homes. That is not following the science and the data. So I am all for following the science and the data, but it shouldn't just be a statement. It should be a reality. And when we don't match what we do in public health to the science and the data, that is when we get into trouble. And that's when we start to fracture trust with the American people.
Okay, so like she says here that It wasn't following the science, but giving this to young people. And that's what we were saying. Okay. First of all, I'm against the whole thing, all of it. The injecting some experimental vaccine, mRNA into your body when you really, you don't know long-term effects. Nobody does. I think we're starting to see some of it now. Now we have. But the fact that, and I remember saying this during COVID. God, it just bothers me. I'm like, why are they injecting children with this stuff? Why are they giving it to young people? Why are we seeing myocarditis and all these health issues and heart issues right now? And how COVID affected people that had comorbidities, all these other things. It never needed to go to healthy people, ever. And now we're seeing an increase along COVID, which is just equivalent to AIDS, is what they're saying, or HIV. And so you see how she's slowly rolling it out here. Okay, we're 4 years later, and it's going to unfold more. But how more of this is starting to be told, and it's no young person should have ever taken this, ever. And it's fascinating to me that she's saying it now. And if I was on that, I'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" Like in the middle of her rant there, and everybody was just quiet because it's like I couldn't believe they were like she was saying it. They weren't letting kids go to school unless they injected themselves with this stuff. Colleges, universities would not let kids into their school if they didn't put this in their body. And now she's saying, well, probably shouldn't have gone to them. It probably should have just gone if you're 65 or older. Now you tell us. Are you kidding me? Following the science. And just so you know, science is all about questioning. Like that's science. Science is questioning the science. If you're questioning the science, then you're doing science. And the crap that I got for questioning the science during COVID. Nuts. There's so many people like, wait, why does a young, healthy child that totally healthy need this? Like they don't need it. And we don't know the long-term effects of it. Question. Never again, you guys. Never again. Never again. I mean it. And they'll try again. There will be something that just, it's horrible. We have to inject everybody. Fear. They'll try again. It's a great way to control people. You get them scared. You're going to die if you don't do it. They'll do what you want. That's how these people operate. Nuts. I just still can't believe she said that. And she said it so like, oh yeah, oh well. Oh. Crazy. Okay. As we wrap this up, oh my gosh, we're already at 53 minutes. Okay, Sheryl Crow. This was a fun one. And of course I had to do something with it. And I wasn't going to do something with it when I first saw it. I really wasn't. But it's when the celebrities push back, then I'm like, now I got to do it. She decided to post a video on the internet so everybody knows that she got rid of her Tesla because she doesn't like Elon Musk. She suffers from TDS. She doesn't like Elon Musk. She doesn't like Trump. I don't know, because they're exposing the waste and abuse and fraud. Oh, it's so horrible. She just can't handle it. She can't handle it so much that she got a friend or somebody to set up a camera and film. You stay over there and film her while she gets a tow truck, back up the tow truck, back it up, and they load up her Tesla. And she's like, start filming. Let's film this so everybody knows how much I hate Elon Musk and Trump. Film it. And then she waves goodbye to her Tesla. Oh. To prove a point that she could never ever drive a car that was designed by Elon Musk, because he's just he's just showing the waste and the fraud, and we can't have it. Here she is. Let's watch Sheryl. Do I have Sheryl? I don't know if I have her. Oh, here I do. Okay, so we got it, Cheryl. You don't like them. Oh, you get them. That'll show them. I'm sure Elon saw that and was like, oh no, I lost Sheryl Crow. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Okay, so that was fine. Like I watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then I went to her Instagram and I was like, oh, she did a follow-up video. So, because she was being called out that there were leaves in the background, right? And she said, she just posted this, and there aren't leaves. There aren't leaves in February. Like, stop it. So we were like, why? That video was shot a long time ago. Why are you posting it now? So she felt compelled to get on and tell everybody that I shot the video a long time ago after the election because I was so enraged. And then once the proceeds from the Tesla went through, that's when I decided to post the video. And I sent the money from the Tesla to NPR. Here's NPR right here. Watch this, lady. I don't know why anybody watches NPR. If you're getting your news from them, they don't want you to know the truth. They just want you to all agree in consensus on what they want you to think.
Hard things, the places where we are prone to disagreement, say politics and religion. Well, as it turns out, not only does Wikipedia's model work there, it actually works really well. Because in our normal lives, these contentious conversations tend to erupt over disagreement about what the truth actually is. But the people who write these articles, they're not focused on the truth. They're focused on something else, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years of working with these brilliant folks, I've come to believe that they are onto something, that perhaps for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth might not be the right place to start. In fact, our reverence for the truth might be a distraction that's getting in the way of finding common ground and getting things done. Now,
wow. Sorry, what? Say it again. What was that? Our reverence for the truth might be a distraction getting in the way of finding common ground and getting things done. Our reverence for the truth. Like, don't you love how she says it too? We might find, and because if you talk like this, then no one's going to think that you have any ill intent. You really love people and you want them to think the best of you. And maybe our desire for the truth might be getting in the way of getting things done. Who follows NPR? What? I'm sorry. I want to know the truth. I don't care if it offends me. I don't care if I was wrong. I want the truth. Give me the truth. You can't handle the truth. I want it. Give it to me. I need to know the truth. What is it? Everybody should want the truth, regardless if it follows your narrative or not. I want the truth. I want to know how our money's being spent. I want to know who's aligning with who. I want to know what Republicans and Democrats are getting kickbacks from the Ukrainian war. That's what I want to know. I want to know the truth. You should want to know the truth. And that lady there doesn't want you to know the truth. I don't know why anybody would watch NPR. Like, what? Just tell me what you want me to know, and then I'll believe it, and then I'll get online and I'll argue with people because you told me what to think, and I will argue with people that think differently. Don't you want the truth? Don't you? So I made this.
My name is Cheryl, and I'm going to be donating my Tesla, and then I'm going to post this video on the internet for all to see.
Till the sun comes up over Santa Monica Boulevard. Why am I donating my Tesla? Because I can't stand Elon Musk.
like visually speaking, I'll be like waving goodbye to it, like bye Tesla, and then I'll saunter back to the camera. I can't stand Elon Musk because him and his team are exposing government waste and corruption and abuse and fraud, and I like don't want to hear about it. Like I just don't want to hear about it. Like stop. Stop, seriously stop. So that's why goodbye like that, and then saunter back with the Bocelli music playing in the background. Okay, time to say goodbye. Get it? Okay. Bye. Should I do 2 or just 1? Is 2 too much? Okay, let's just do 1. I mean, my parents always said that you are who you hang out with. There comes a time when you have to decide who you are willing to align with. I'm going to donate my money from my Tesla to NPR. Hi, it's me again, Cheryl. I had no idea that my post was going to blow up like it did. A lot of you guys are like, why did you donate to NPR and not like hurricane victims? I get my news from NPR, okay? So I love NPR. I mean, the CEO of NPR said that our reverence for the truth might be getting in the way of finding common ground and getting things done. Goodbye, Tesla. Truth is getting in the way. It's getting in the way. I don't want to hear about the waste and fraud, and I want to get my news from NPR, okay? Okay. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. I do. I want the truth. I want to know. I want to know it. And maybe that's why I'm the way I am. I like to, I take what I see and I make it and I put it out there, and I want the truth. I want people to think, I want people to look for the truth. And let's just say this. I might not always be right. And I have to be willing to be wrong. I might be wrong. And then I might be like, oh, okay, I had that wrong. I had that wrong. But the truth should always be what matters. Finding the truth should always supersede anything else. It should override your feelings, your emotion, everything. Getting to the truth, finding what the truth is. And it comes with offense. You're going to be offended at some point by the truth. It will. But it also sets you free. It really does. The truth does set you free. It liberates you, because then you're like not deceived. You're not misled. You're not in the bonds of, chains like that are keeping you held because you don't know what's really going on. All right, we got to wrap it up. I want to quickly end with this because I'm seeing a lot of complaining, right, from the left, and that's my job. Like, that's what I do. I follow the left. I listen to the lefties' news. I do. I shouldn't, but I do, because I got to know what they're thinking. That's because I need to know what they're thinking. So yeah, I got to listen to Rachel Maddow sometimes. Is it painful? Yes. Sometimes you got to tune into CNN and be like, make it stop. But it's healthy to do it, to listen to the other side. I do it so I can play them and understand where they're coming from. But I am seeing a lot of complaining. I'm seeing a lot of meltdowns. I'm seeing a lot of, it's just terrible. It's the end of the world. It's what a lot of people think. And it's sad. I'm sad for them. I watched the protests of President's Day weekend, right? And I saw the lefties assemble, and that is a cast of characters in themselves. If you're into like character development, if you're artsy like I am, theater, all that stuff, like that is just brilliant. It's such great material. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to, and it sucks you in. And you listen to these people, and then I come out with like 5 or 6 new characters I could play. I'm like, wow, thank you for that. It's a cast of characters, I'll tell you. But I'm seeing a lot of complaining. And I just wanted to say this, and I might make it into a video, but I wrote this down, and it might resonate with you. I said, we had to watch millions come across our border illegally. We had to watch women be violated and murdered by illegals. We had to watch more Americans die of fentanyl. We had to watch Venezuelan gang members take over apartment buildings. We had to watch the mutilation of children being sanctioned by our government. We had to watch men compete against women in sports. We had to watch Russia invade Ukraine. We had to watch October 7th. We had to watch the cost of living skyrocket. We had to watch people lose their jobs because they didn't want to take an experimental shot. We had to watch plane parts fall out of skies and trains derail. We had to watch cocaine being found at the White House and a Senate staffer filming a pornographic video in a judicial committee hearing room. So I have no sympathy that you now have to watch Elon Musk find waste and abuse taking place with American taxpayer money. Like, that's how I feel. Suck it up. Honestly, we watched our country come to ruin over the last 4 years. Nothing I listed there was good. Nothing. And we had to watch it. And it was painful and it was horrible and it was agonizing. But what did I do? I kept going. And you can keep going too if you're just so outraged. And I would say to you, the left that's just melting down and, oh, it's terrible, it's horrible. Ask yourself, am I really seeking the truth? Or am I just angry at Trump because it's Trump? Do I want the answers? Do I want to find the truth? Do I really love this country? Do I want this country to survive and thrive? Do I want Americans to be safe? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you don't care about America. Maybe you don't. But ask yourself those questions. Be real with yourself first and foremost. And ask yourself, am I really trying to find the truth? Because it was painful watching what happened over the last 4 years. And now, yeah, you might be upset. You might be disheartened and it's just all horribly and just terrible right now for you. But we just went through it. Every single Make America Great Again supporter, every single person that loves this country, that wants America to be put first, had to watch America be put last over the last 4 years. And it was hard. It was really hard. And I was still kind. I was still kind to the left. Still kind to the family members that are on the left. Still kind to the friends I have that are on the left. I was still kind. Still nice. But know that it was hard for me. Wasn't easy. So maybe have some empathy right now and maybe ask yourself, I don't know, maybe I should try to find the truth. Maybe I should try to find the truth. You know, I mean, sitting here listening to this Rachel talk here. Were there really people receiving Social Security checks that were 150 years old or 130 years old? Or were there? I don't know if she's telling me the truth. She's lying. You're a liar. Well, look it up. Do some research yourself. And then decide for yourself. So that's it. That's a wrap. You guys, I appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I do question sometimes. I'm like, do people like this? Do they just want the satire, or do you also want the commentary on Fridays? Let me know. I like feedback. I do, positive or negative. I'll take it. And to my supporters, because you guys are the ones that keep me going. I need to grow my supporter base. I really do, in order to justify continue doing this. You can support me on Patreon. $3 a month, $5 a month, whatever you can do. I know inflation is still high right now. I'm aware of that. And I'm aware, and we want to turn this thing around, and it's going to take some time to turn it around, right? People are like, eggs are still high. Well, they're killing eggs. They're killing chickens because of bird flu. So we're going to have a shortage on eggs. That's not true. Well, let's look into it. Maybe let's research it and see if it is, or maybe it's not. I don't know. You should look into it. Search for the truth. But it's going to take some time. So as we're in this period of like trying to gut it and clean it and drain the swamp, because I feel like the last presidency under Trump in 2016, you know, the promise was to drain the swamp, and then he got hit with all the swamp creatures, and it was very difficult to get anything done. We saw that all happen. But I do feel like we're actually in the process of draining the swamp. And that takes time, right? When you're in a bathtub and you pull the plug on it, the water doesn't just disappear immediately. It takes a while. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take some patience and encouragement from those of us that do support America First policies.
So anyways, to say, support me if you can, because I know it's not cheap out there. I'm fully aware of it. I had to pay an insane amount of money for eggs the other day. It was ridiculous. I'm like, this is insane. So it's going to take a while, but if you can, support me. I'll drop the link in the comments. You can support me also on Facebook. I have supporters, and on X. I want to still say Twitter, but on X. And yeah, it's just people that just want this to continue. If you don't want it to continue, then don't. Just don't. But if you do, I would love your support. But that's it. God bless you all. Thank you. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you sharing my videos and being a light and speaking the truth. And that's what we're called to do. And love the people that don't see it the same way you do, right? Love them anyways. That's where I'm at. Like, I still love you. And that's why I let these people still talk away. It's okay. We're going to disagree. I still love you. I do. I really do. I have no really angst or hatred. You can't, like, as a Christian, you can't hate the left. You can hate the policies, but you can't hate the people. It's not right. So we got to love one another, and you just keep praying for the people that can't see it. That's what I do. I believe in praying for people. I believe there's power in prayer. I've seen it in my own life. You pray for people that don't see it the same way. You pray that, that any deception that someone's walking in would be removed. And yes, so that's it. Have a great weekend. I'm going to go probably shovel some more snow. I'll talk soon. Bye, guys.